What's good, guys? Welcome back to Ron's Rides. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. Now today we're talking about an article from driving.ca and it is by David Booth. He posted an article about 5 things I learned driving the 2020 Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio. Now, having driven 2017, 2018, 2019, and the 2020 model Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio myself, working at the dealership selling the cars, I definitely have an opinion on some of these things as well, as I've shared with you guys on the channel. And with you guys having owned these cars or just experiencing them yourself, I know you guys would definitely have an opinion on something like this as well. And then for the people who are thinking about Alfa Romeo, maybe purchasing one, just very intrigued about the car, I want to share this article and the different things that he touched on, the 5 different things he touched on that potential Alfa Romeo drivers and buyers, that current Alfa Romeo owners or past Alfa Romeo owners would actually add to this list, or if they would agree or disagree with anything on this list. So this is definitely going to be a conversation I want you guys to have down in the comments below. Before I get too deep into this, just know that I will be linking the article in the description below so you can go check out everything yourself, because I'm not going to cover every single piece of the article, just the main important parts that you guys want to hear. So the first bullet point he said about the 2020 Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio is, "She who must be obeyed likes herself some firm suspension." So what does David mean by that? Well, he said that his significant other and fellow driving rider actually drove the Quadrifoglio, and every time she got behind the wheel, it was like she had remembered her birthday and their anniversary. He said, "She never ever asked me to keep luxury cars beyond our allotted week. With the Giulia, she was talking about reporting it stolen and keeping it for ourselves." He also said what she loved about the Quadrifoglio was the same thing that she loves about butch SUVs. First up, with the firm and well-direct steering. The Alfa's quick 2.2 turns to lock steering box spoke to her directly. The Alfa almost pretending there was no hydraulics and no electrons between Pirellis to muddy the feeling of, and now you're getting really tired of this descriptive directness. We're talking about the kind of talk to me feedback that BMW abandoned some time ago, that Mercedes pretends to have, and that Audi still hasn't figured out. If you want to clip the apexes with more precision than this Giulia, you're going to have to lose 2 doors, maybe the fenders too. So with that said, we've talked plenty of times about the direct steering that Alfa Romeo has and how precise that steering is once I've driven the vehicle and told you guys myself, and I'm sure that you guys who have experienced the car would agree. Now there's more to that story, but again, I will only go over bullet points. You guys want to check out the full article, make sure you check that down below. Now the second thing that David Booth learned about driving the 2020 Giulia Quadrifoglio is it's perhaps a bit too direct. And he said, speaking of his significant other, herself, perhaps a little too conditioned to sport brutes and butch trucks, could not assimilate the Quadrifoglio's brakes. FCA Canada, actually, we were driving an American press unit, so we'll blame the Yanks, outfitted this tester with Alfa Romeo's optional carbon ceramic brakes. They were powerful, perhaps too powerful. He added, so here's the bottom line. If you live in Germany, the Autobahn, or Italy, Alpine passes, or better yet, plan to take the Giulia Quadrifoglio to the track days it so deserves, then by all means go ceramic. Otherwise, save yourself $8,250 and get better everyday performance with the standard brakes. And again, we've talked about this before about the carbon ceramic brakes. They're not really practical for daily driving, and actually they may not be worth that money, especially when you go to replace them and pay an extra $10,000 to do so. But we've talked about that before. This is David's article. Now, his next bullet point says, "I'll take over for the engine evaluation." He said, yes, the Alfa Romeo has a Ferrari engine, and it sounds and performs like one in both bark and bite. It's not quite as happy just pulling around town. Oh, it will trundle along, but one gets the impression its nose is just a little too out of joint. Floor the throttle at 2000 RPM in comfort mode, there's some hesitancy to bare fangs. Do so at 4 grand in race mode, and the tack will hit 7,000 faster than a Rottweiler, ready to pounce at any unexpected doorbell. It's a beastly thing when it wants to be. It's sub 4-second 0 to 100 kilometers sprint, the equal of many of the Porsche 911. Besides, anytime you can brag that your engine is made in Maranello, it's a good day. So it is one of those things where David is talking about the engine maybe not really good at slower speeds, and full throttle, yes, that thing is gonna bark, it's gonna bite, it's gonna do what it needs to do. But same with the carbon ceramic brakes, maybe sometimes at slower speeds, it kind of struggles to find its identity and really what it wants to do. But you guys are gonna have to comment on that for you everyday Quadrifoglio drivers. The fourth thing that David learned about driving a 2020 Giulia Quadrifoglio is it's a little more civilized than it used to be. He said most improved is the infotainment, which is a fine example of the breed. It uses tiles to manage function, and by simply sweeping to one side or the other, the touchscreen's functionality is changed easily. That screen is 8.8 inches, decently sized. He said the only problem is FCA's own Uconnect system, which Maserati, for instance, renames and uses, is probably the best system in existence right now and has just released its 5th generation upgrade. Alfa Romeo didn't go in-house for this one is a mystery. When I expect will be rectified for the next model revision. So again, we've talked about this with the infotainment, the new 2020 infotainment and touchscreen, where it's not necessarily where it needs to be, but it is a major jump. It is a major improvement from the old system. But the first year for things is not going to always work out the best. And with that, the system is laggy. We've talked about it before. It does get over-the-air updates. So we're expecting Alfa to fine-tune the system, but it is not everything that everyone wants it to be. So I think that's where David is kind of learning this along the way. Now, the fifth and final thing that David learned about driving a 2020 Giulia Quadrifoglio is, well, he says, should you buy one? And that's the heading. Now, let's see what David has to say. He says, I think so. Of course, there's always the question of reliability, but that hasn't stopped anyone from buying Land Rovers, BMWs, or some other FCA products. The price is almost competitive. The base MSRP of $90,945 is understandable considering where the engine comes from and the fact that it has a carbon fiber drive shaft. And if you skip the ceramic Brembos, the $98,140 as tested price isn't actually objectionable. Wraps it up with saying, all those things considered, then it comes down to this. Do you demand a real driver's car, or are you just posing as a sports car enthusiast? Will you be really clipping apexes, or are you just a Grand Prix de Rodeo Boulevard competitor? If your answer to the first part of both questions wasn't affirmative, then you should seriously shop the Alfa. If the second part of the equation sounds more like you, do yourself a favor and buy a Mercedes. So with that said, guys, great wrap up by David, great article by David. What do you guys think? Out of the 5 things that he mentioned about what he learned driving this Quadrifoglio, do you agree with all of them? Do you disagree with all of them? Or would you add anything to what he said? I definitely want to know down in the comments below. So I want to see if your point of views match up with his point of views. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Giving it a thumbs up helps get it up in the rankings. More people can see it, and we can have a bigger discussion on 5 things you learned driving a 2020 Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio. Now, if you guys want to help further support the channel, always check my links down below. I have a one-time link donation for my PayPal. Down there below, you can donate $1 or $2 to the channel, or whatever you would like. Thank you for your support. You can also check out the Patreon subscription, be a monthly subscriber, or you can check out the Ron's Rides merch. You get Ron's Rides t-shirts, tank tops, stickers, coffee mugs, phone cases, everything Ron's Rides. So make sure you check that out, and check out my social media, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram. See everything I'm posting, Maserati, Alfa Romeo, and Ferrari that doesn't always make it here to the channel. Now, make sure you subscribe, click the notification bell so you can get this video straight to your inbox, and we will talk to you guys in the next Ron's Rides video. Be safe, be blessed, and just be good out there, guys. Have a blessed day. We'll see you then. Peace.